verse 30, Ulladhu Naarpadhu, given to us by Sri Ramana Maharshi. நானார் என மனம் உள்நாடி உளம் நன்னவே நானாம் அவன்தலை நாணமுற நான் நானா தோன்றும் ஒன்று தானாக தோன்றினும் நான் என்று பொருள் பூன்றமது தானாம் பொருள். This verse is also about seeking the source of the ego, the psychological sense of I, the bodily sense of I. I say I am Sentivel. Who is saying? A thought is saying. Which is the birthplace of that thought? You seek it. The same message comes here. Nanar ena, who am I? Saying this, you seek the source. You are seeking the source. Nanar ena manam ulladi ulam nannave. When you seek the source, that ego goes and reaches and merges with the Atma. That having taken place, Nanam Avantale Nanamura, that having taken place, what? The ego reaching the self and merging having taken place. Nanam Avantale Nanamura. Your psychological sense of I is ashamed. Because when you seek it, it disappears, it flees, it runs away. That is what Bhagavan says. We all live by the sense of I am the body, but when you seek it, it flees because it doesn't have original existence, independent existence apart from Atma. So Atma, which masquerades as this ego. So it has got only phantom-like existence. It does not have real existence at all. That's what Bhagavan says. In another song in Upadesa Undiyar also he says, if you seek it, you will find that the mind is not there. If you seek the birthplace of the mind, he says, you will see that there is no such thing as the mind. So, Nanar ena manam ulladi ulam nannave, when you turn inward and seek the source, and when you do it, the ego goes and submerges or dissolves in the Atma. That having taken place, your ego is ashamed of itself. He says, Avandalai Nanamura, நான் நானா தோன்றும் ஒன்று தானாக தோன்றினும் நான் என்று பொருள் பூன்றமது தானாம் பொருள். See, this is an important mechanism that Sri Bhagavan is talking about. When you start inquiring, every time a thought arises, you ask yourself, to whom is this thought? You will get an answer from your mind, I, to me. Who is that I? Which is the birthplace of this I thought? If you just turn your attention inward and seek, at that point, there arises something else as I, in the form of a pulsation, a palpable sensation. But he says, don't confound it with the bodily experience. Sri Bhagavan says that is called sphuranam. In English, it is pulsation, a kind of palpable sensation that arises from within when we do vicharam, when we do self-inquiry. When we seek the source of the ego, when it topples down, it is ashamed of, at that place there arises something called sphuranam. And Sri Bhagavan says in one of the prose texts, he talks about this sphuranam. Spurana is felt on several occasions such as in fear, excitement, etc. Although it is always and all over, yet it is felt at a particular center on particular occasions. It is also associated with the antecedent causes and is confounded with the body, whereas it is all alone and pure. What? Sphuranam. That experience is all alone and pure. It is the self. If the mind be fixed on the spurana and one senses it continuously and automatically, it is realization. Again, spurana is the foretaste of realization. It is pure. The subject and object proceed from it. The subject and object proceed from it. What is the subject and object? From Atma, as I said, ego arises. This is ego. Ego arising, all your experiences arise. This is called Triputi, the triad. Atma is one, limitless. It doesn't have any division at all. Here division takes place in the form of a separateness created through this body. I am this body. Once this I is born, I thought is born, all your experiences of your body and the world is born. If this is removed, only oneness is left. So here he is talking about the Triputi. Again, Spurana is the foretaste of realization. It is pure. The subject and object proceed from it. They are periodically withdrawn and projected, creating the world and the subject's enjoyment of the same. See, upon the rising of the ego, he says, the subject, I, this bodily I is created, and his objects, the objects that he enjoys. If I'm a man, I look at a woman. I'm a separate individual, the camera is separate, the world is separate, the wall is separate, everything is separate, the world is separate. This is called subject, object, and the process of knowing. The subject knowing the object. This is called the triad. So, he says Spurana, again Spurana is the foretaste of realization. It is pure. The subject and object proceed from it. If the man mistakes himself for the subject, objects must necessarily appear different from him. And they are objects. They are periodically withdrawn and projected, creating the world and the subject's enjoyment are the same. Why he is saying they are projected and withdrawn? Because in deep sleep, there is no body, there is no world, there is no universe at all. Only we are there. That is Atma. But it has got the potential seed. In the morning, we wake up with all the memories again. So, deep sleep is not equal to self-realization. At best, we can take a clue from deep sleep that when the mind subsides, what is left is Atma, our pure nature. We have to bring about that state in the waking state. In the waking state, we have to bring about the stillness of that deep sleep state plus awareness of the wakeful state. That's all. That is what is the realization. So, he says Spurana, again Spurana is the foretaste of realization. It is pure. The subject and object proceed from it. If the man mistakes himself for the subject, objects must necessarily appear different from him. They are periodically withdrawn and projected, creating the world and the subject's enjoyment of the same. If, on the other hand, the man feels himself to be the screen on which the subject and object are projected, there can be no confusion and he can remain watching their appearance and disappearance without any perturbation to the self. This is the conclusion. So finally what? Sri Bhagavan lived in a modern age, so he is giving the example of cinema. What is your ultimate nature? It is like the cinema screen on which the entire universe is projected as a movie. And who is the first hero? You. You are your own first hero. But he is falsehood. Because the screen alone is real, he says. The projections are not real. You go to a movie, you see your hero or heroine. Are they real? Can you go and touch them? Can you go and shake hands with them? No. On the screen, there is a huge, flood shown. Is the screen drenched? No. There is an explosion, earthquake on the screen. Is the theater brought down because of that, or is the screen brought down? No. The same way he says we are fundamentally awareness screen. And on that screen, the entire movie of this body, world and universe is happening, he says. See, the point here is Atma is formless. That is the most important thing. Okay. It is that Atma, formless Atma, which is the cause, so to say, of all the material creation. It pervades everything. It gives life, so to say, to everything in the universe, including the body. But it does not lose its original nature, that of formless, infinite existence, infinite consciousness, infinite bliss. Yeah, this is what it is. So, this body is said to be Upadhi. This body is said to be Upadhi, which means an add-on, something added on to something else. That is what it is. Like how we fit a bulb to the socket. The same way, the entire universe made of upadis, made of bodies, is fitted onto Atma, so to say. Atma remains untouched. It is all pervasive. But in its presence, because of the power of its presence, all things in the universe operate the way they operate. That's it. So this human body is called Chidabhasa, which means reflected light. And Atma is said to be the original light. This is comparable to the sun and the moon. In the night we get moonlight, and the moon does not have its own light. It is only reflecting the sunlight. This is science. The same way, in the light of Atma, so many billions of moons shine. What are they? These human beings, 7.5 billion human beings, so many animals, plants, etc., etc., stars, whatnot. Everything in the universe is shining in the light of Atma. Atma is the sun. So it illumines everything. It means it reveals the presence of the entire physical order. But in whose light is this revealed, the entire universe revealed? In the light of Brahman, Atma. Where is it? Right now. It is all pervasive, which means it must pervade your body, my body, and all bodies in the world. The entire universe it has to pervade. There is nobody is exempted, no object is exempted. That is what we are. We are not the Upadi. We are fundamentally the electricity which makes the fan spin. But we end up thinking we are the fan. How to access that electricity? Turn inward. Sri Bhagavan's method is vicharam, self-enquiry. So this verse says, if you turn inward and seek the source of ego, the ego will merge with Atma, your original nature. There, your psychological sense of I, bodily sense of I will be ashamed and it will topple down. There, a new thing happens. There arises a palpable sensation called sphuranam. And this sphuranam is not bodily experience, he says. It is oneness, he says. It is Atma. That sphuranam, over a period of time, burns up all your memories. Your several lifetimes of memory that I have been a man, I have been a woman, etc., etc., and this is my property, this is my man, this is my woman. All those memories are destroyed. Like how what is Karpuram? Okay. It just like a candle. It burns itself, that's all, fully. And it becomes non-existent. Which one? Ego. It just becomes non-existent. When ego becomes non-existent, what exists is our true nature. So this Purana that arises, that palpable sensation that arises, he says, it is not bodily experience, it is not ego. Then what is it? Poondramadu. It is perfection. What? Brahman. Thanam Porul. It is Atma itself. So let us think about it.